Right. And so the OSC stuff, as a human rights dictionary, it's not. I'm not afraid this is not where people's heads are. I mean, yeah, I see people. I know DC well, and I think they all do.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our conference. Today I want to introduce my colleague. First of all, this is Christoph Babinski, our colleague and co-chair of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum, and he's also a well-known Polish think tank leader. And Anna Ruka, she is also our colleague from Council of Europe. She is president of the Conference for International NGOs, which is consultative body, which is also part of the Council of Europe. And today we invite two brave guests because since from 2014, when strong pressure started against civil society in Azerbaijan, these two persons always stay strong with us. Christoph tried to show his solidarity in European Union institutions, and Anna Ruka always tried to help us with topics which is covered by Council of Europe. And I, exile-based activist, former chair of Institute for Reporters Freedom and Safety, but I'm still co-founder of these organizations. And I welcome all of you. Just try to say, we have a live stream. If we are only filming our speakers, but you are free if you want to ask questions or make short intervention. We are give floor to any of you after our presentations. And first of all, I want to start with Anna, because she's know everything about Azerbaijan, and especially about freedom of association. And please, Anna, the floor is yours. We have two microphones, unfortunately, but
okay. Thank you very much, Amin, and good morning, everyone. No, I don't know everything about Azerbaijan, but I know a little about the freedom of association and Council of Europe standards. So I would like to a little introduce my organization and also say how we try to work to increase the fundamental freedom in Azerbaijan. So the Conference of the International NGOs is one of the organs of the Council of Europe, composed today by around 300 international NGOs, with the participatory status given by the Secretary General of the Council of Europe. And freedom of association in Azerbaijan is our long-term concern. From 2012 to 2014, our expert council on NGO law, it's our body, independent body, which is composed by 15 independent members appointed by the Bureau of the Conference of the International NGOs. Most of them are lawyers, but what we're looking for also to have the experience on the grassroots. It means that we manage the expertise in the law with the experience of the people as the activists. So from 2012 to 2014, the Expert Council on NGO Law has this exchange of letter with Azerbaijan public authorities following the opinion on the amendments. It was the amendments on the law on association and foundation, which were made in 2009 and 2013. The conclusion at that time that I just revisited to prepare the site event, I think that they are still the same, that we can apply today. The amendments which was made at that time just show this restrictive environment for the NGOs and for the activists. It is sure that not compliance with the Council of Europe standards. And after them, there were also the amendments on the primary law made in 2014, 2015, and 2016. The opinion of Venice Commission on this law was made in 2014, and it was also a very negative opinion regarding the provision. So the amendments proposed at that time and today not only render the NGO law non-compliant with the European standard, but they show that they are not really adapted to the problem which should be solved. It means that they increase the control in the place on the NGOs from the government and don't really have to have the aim to guarantee the fundamental rights. There was one movement, I think that's one move that it really was made in 2017 regarding the registration of the foreign donors, 2017 I think, yeah, which aimed to simplify the procedures for the foreign donors to register regarding the public authorities. But it's really, what I can say, a little move, and the needs on the change of the law are so serious. In 2015, I was elected as a president, and in 2016, the bureau, my bureau, appointed Antigam Aliyev as the expert of the Expert Council on NGO Law. At that time, Antigam was only arrested before trial. And yes, of course, that we recognize all capacities and expertise and courage that he has. But at that time, it was more political decision from our side to appoint Antigam as the member of the Expert Council, which is the part of the intergovernmental body, to have the possibilities to stand up for him. And we were also very aware that it is just one step, but the needs to address this kind of support is bigger than one human rights defenders. At that time, maybe you can say that I'm naive, but yeah, I write to the president of Azerbaijan and to inform him about this appointment. And 1 year after, I also write to and it was 1 or 2 years after, where Antigam was already outside of prison, but still with the ban to leave the country. And I write to the Minister of Justice and Prosecutor to ask the possibilities to come to Strasbourg, because we needed really the key speaker for our event, and nobody really believed that the authorization will come, but it was like this, and Antigam come to Strasbourg. It was really the big event for all of us, and big and strong moment. But if I understood very well after, he had the permission for 10 days, and after yes, of course, he was outspoken and he speak about the situation as it's real, in reality, but after he has also the consequences about that in her own private life. So he was sanctioned. In 2017, the Council of Europe, in collaboration and European Union, in collaboration with the Expert Council, made the assessment on various aspects of the legislation relating to the NGOs, and they look to the practice and to the application of the law. And once again, the conclusion was very negative, the non-compliance with the international standards. I will just share with you two examples of what is mean non-compliance, and the list is really very long, and you can see the report on the Council of Europe office in Baku on the website. Since 2015, in Azerbaijan, it became illegal to sign a contract with the foreign donors for the NGOs, which haven't received the right to grant funds. And as I say, in January 2017, the Cabinet of Ministers adopted the decision to to facilitate this procedure, but it is still the fact that the donors should register to any register. It's not comply with the international standards. Today we have some other example, like in Hungary, the law on the foreign funds, which try to establish the same control on the foreign funds. And Venice Commission opinion, our opinion, say that the donors can't, and it's not, because also we should protect the privacy of the donors, okay? And the donors are the big companies, but also the private people. So the regulation and the very restrictive regulation on the access to funding has the consequences that the NGOs are today without money. And to conclude, I would like to have maybe discussion with you. I'm really wondering to know what we can do. This is the first question. Taking into account that the non-compliance with the European standards, it's so long in Azerbaijan. I can really ask myself, and I think that in Council of Europe, the Mammadov case showed that the member states also ask itself if Azerbaijan has the place in the international community. So this is the first one. And the second question is, if the member states on SC, Council of Europe, European Union, do act sufficiency and how can I say, and have also the efficiency as the aim to change the situation. Because the finding today is that all initiative from the Council of Europe, assistance program, international pressure, don't really give the expected results. Yeah, so I think that is also the question. It's a very serious question, because if not, it's we will have also the discussion about double standards in the international institution. It's not now W, I think, the free level of standards in the international institution. So we should really reflect on that. And at the end, I would like also thank you and salute the courage of the people who, the men and the women, who don't comply with the authoritarian regime and who defend fundamental values as Emin, Nesmin, and Tigan. Because these individuals show that what is the most important for civil society organization and international institution, that the state have an obligation to ensure that people are free to form and to participate in association of any type and to engage independently in any legal and lawful activities. I think that in Azerbaijan, when I have the exchange of view with the different representatives of public authorities, different ministry, I think that there is a big misunderstanding about the role of the NGOs. When I heard myself that the people say, okay, we have very good collaboration with the civil society sector because they execute all decisions that we want that they execute. This is not the role of the NGOs. The NGOs are not the agency for execution of the governmental decision. Okay, they are self-governing body, independent one, and today the member states and the donors should really support the independent NGOs, not governmental-oriented NGOs, which are set up by the government itself. And this phenomenon is not only in Azerbaijan, we have also in Russia, now in Poland. We observe the new NGOs, which are really very close of the government, and we can ask ourselves what is the degree of the independence of themselves. So we should really also take like an indicator how the independent sector work and have the possibility to work and operate in the member states. Not only NGOs itself, but the degree of the independence of the NGOs. Thank you very much, and I don't know who will take the floor. No?
I think it's better if Christophe continue and cover topics related with European Union.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Emin, for inviting me to speak to you. And ever since Emin called me and asked me to speak, I've had this feeling of rising panic, because I have this feeling that people in the audience know more about the subject than I do. And now, having heard Anna, I may be repeating myself. So actually,
we didn't cause you.
Well, this is a pretty scary experience. Let me explain. I am a co-chair, one of the two co-chairs of the steering committee of the Civil Society Forum of the Eastern Partnership. This is an organization which is funded by the European Commission, and we were set up 10 years ago. The anniversary, 10th Assembly will be in Tbilisi this December, and we were set up as a consultative body for the European Commission in its relations with the Eastern Partnership countries. And I don't have to tell you that the Eastern Partnership countries are Belarus, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Moldova, Ukraine, and there's a sixth one, which I've forgotten. But you can guess, and I'll give you prizes if you can guess the sixth one. We basically try and make sure that things go well in these countries, and we make demands of the European Commission in their relations with these countries, and we point out things which are going wrong. For instance, the other day, President Erdogan of Turkey asked for 7 teachers from a school in Chisinau in Moldova to be extradited, and the government in Moldova just handed these teachers over without any kind of legal procedure whatsoever. These are the kind of things that we focus on. And of course, we are very interested in what's happening in Azerbaijan, also because some of our members have spent time in prison, and we've managed to get people like Anna, well, I don't know if we managed to get, but we were very active in trying to get Anna Mammadli out of prison, and it happened, and we're very happy that he's free. Where this places me is that we watch the Western institutions, international institutions of which Azerbaijan is a member, and we are constantly unhappy about the way, Anna mentioned, they don't seem to have much of an effect on the values side of things. I mean, Azerbaijan is a very difficult country to deal with because it has all this gas and oil, and it's very important, and it also has this anti-Russian persona, and therefore it's a partner in the economic sphere for Western countries, for Western institutions. On the other hand, Western institutions and Western countries have values about which they talk all the time, most of the time, and there is a clash between the Western values and the economic interests and the geopolitical interests, the opportunity that Azerbaijan presents. For instance, the European Union at the moment is negotiating an agreement with Azerbaijan, which will probably be signed sometime next year. They're very keen on this agreement, and they get quite irritated when we say, hey, well, what about civil rights in this agreement? They might sign something saying that they're keen on civil rights, but they probably won't implement these civil rights. So maybe you should slow down the agreement, the negotiations, or try and get some concessions out of them. They get quite irritated when we say these things. And it shows us that the whole post-1989 idea of getting post-Soviet states to join international institutions is really in question, because the idea was, I think, that we invite these countries to join, we present them with a set of standards which they have to stick to, and then they will become more or less like us. Well, actually, the reality is that these countries, some of these countries, are undermining our institutions as opposed to us undermining their old ways. Azerbaijan has lots of money and buys people in the Western institutions. The Council of Europe is, I think, trying to do something about this, but I'm not sure how effective that is. It's bought MPs, members of the Council of Europe Parliamentary Assembly. They have voted the way people want to, the Azeri government want them to vote. They've been very good at buying up Malta. I think they've captured Malta. I'm not an expert on Malta, but I have a feeling that Malta is basically one of the districts of Azerbaijan at the moment. They've been using a bank in Malta to launder money. They've done very well in buying members of the United Kingdom's House of Lords. This is, of course, because of the connection with British Petroleum. And this is the problem, that not only are they not doing what we thought they might be doing in implementing Western values, but they're actually doing quite the opposite. They are undermining our institutions. I know there's a strong group in the room from the United States. I don't know how well they're doing in undermining US institutions, but I have had good experiences with the OSCE, the US OSCE office, which puts out the right statements. I'm not sure how that gels with overall American policy, but things can be done. And this shows that things can be done if there's goodwill in the Western institutions, in the Western member states. Coming here on the tram this morning, I saw that there was an Azeri exhibition of sites from Baku on the Warsaw Town Hall. I'm not sure that the Warsaw Town Hall should have allowed that to happen. At the moment at the Warsaw railway station, there's an exhibition of what UNESCO is doing to preserve and renovate cultural sites in the Eastern Partnership countries. Well, that's fine. I haven't seen the exhibition, but I have a feeling it will show how much Azerbaijan is doing to renovate cultural sites in the Eastern Partnership countries. UNESCO has been or is still a Azeri fiefdom because UNESCO is short of money. So a lot of this is about money. Things get even more complicated. I'm sorry to be so downbeat about these things, but they get more complicated because, as Anna mentioned, we have countries, member states of the European Union, which are now moving down the authoritarian path. Poland, happy to see, I don't know if it's still up there, people unhappy about what's happening in Poland put a T-shirt with the word Constitution onto one of the biggest well-known landmarks on Castle Square yesterday. This is an action which has been happening these past few months, where people have been putting T-shirts with the word Constitution onto various statues. Hungary isn't doing well on the human rights side. Romania is going down, is not seems to be completely dominated by crooks, apart from the president. Bulgaria probably will go the same way. So not only do we have people being brought up by countries like Azerbaijan, politicians being brought up, but actually countries in the European Union are actively pursuing this kind of authoritarian path which they seem to admire. Another problem is, of course, Turkey, which is very close emotionally to Azerbaijan, which has also behaved very badly. And this is one of our problems if we're talking about political prisoners in Azerbaijan, that Turkey is producing so much more political prisoners. And people say, what are you saying about Azerbaijan? Look at Turkey, that's where you should be complaining. I think we should be complaining about everybody. We've had a couple of successes. And the successes are when we act before someone is actually tried and put into prison. We've had Fikret Hüseyinli, who was detained at Kiev airport on a red notice, is it called?
Yeah.
By Interpol. And it took an awful amount of time and effort to try and get him back to Amsterdam, where he is a Dutch citizen. I always mix up Amsterdam and Antwerp, I'm sorry. Where he's a Dutch citizen, and even the Dutch government was really sort of right shy about trying to get him out, and it was all very difficult. But it happened, and he's happily at home. We had Emin Aslan, who, after a year at Syracuse University, went back to Baku, I think to get married apart from anything else. And he was detained and put into prison for a month, and it looked very bad for a minute that he wouldn't be released. But he has been released, but he's not allowed to travel. I think his wife was going to the States on a scholarship, and I don't think he's been able to go with her. But at least he's not in prison. So what is the message? The message is actually we have to do a better job in trying to protect human rights. The economic interests are very important, but they can't be allowed to dominate everything. We have to worry about our own institutions, which are being undermined by Azeri money and other people's money as well. And we just have to do a better job. Thank you very much. Oh. No, that's it. Just the US. The US was, I think, very helpful with the Aslan case. So thank you very much. If any of you were involved, thank you.
Thank you, Christoph. And now I just want to conclude all of these three fundamental rights: freedom of assembly, association, and freedom of expression. Our organizations work in Azerbaijan since 2006. We are covering all problems which is related with freedom of expression. And today, many of you know, for Azerbaijan, one of the difficult countries which have very restricted environment regarding the freedom of expression. Many journalists jailed. We have approximately 14 victims of freedom of expression. 9 of them it's journalists, 2 of them bloggers, 1 satirical writers, and even graffiti activists arrested in Azerbaijan. Well, and today we have more than 130 political prisoners. This is according to human rights group which has covered these topics. This is quite big numbers from 10 million populations. And unfortunately, we don't have enough people which is able to protect these victims. According to the current statistics, we have 1,500 lawyers which have a bar exam license, bar association license, but only 6 lawyers from 1,500 de facto applicable for protect political prisoners. It looks like 99% of lawyers community not applicable to fighting on the politically motivated cases. And as this is a serious problem, many since the government changed the law when just people which have legal status not able to protect the victims in the court without bar members' license. We have serious collapse on these issues, and many people staying without lawyers, many political prisoners waiting his lawyers, sometimes by months. Even my brother, which is one of the famous anti-corruptional bloggers and which is also chair of our organization, even he have a problem with the lawyers because one of his lawyers, which is protecting this bar, Fakhreddin Mehdi, only for reason for his lawyers of well-known political prisoners. And same issues happened with 10 other independent lawyers from last 1.5 years. Regarding the freedom of expression, our president, Ali, which is already successfully for him re-elected with snap elections, as like Maduro re-elected in same month. Ali always try to explain to foreign guests, well, we have a freedom of expression because we have a free internet. Yes, we have partly free internet, but since government started blocked whole websites or critical media sources, it's this internet not really free because yeah, social media is still not blocked in my country. YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram and Twitter available for all, but we fixed a couple of times blackout when, for example, protest rallies organized by opposition in the middle of Baku, government shut all 3G and wired and wireless internet just to prevent live broadcasting. And Aliyev, they also always try to say to foreign observers, look, we give to opposition place in the middle of the Baku, but people not attend. But you know how the people attend to this event? If they are using special machines with artificial intelligence, which is recognized people by face, and after all people which is attended, it's like just one door principle. You are attended to this public rally from one door, and police filming you. And after a week later, 2 weeks later, you are invited to the police station, and they start to talking with you why you attended there. And after this kind of influence, no one again, and especially people which have a job or his relatives have a job and the state position, they are decided to not attend it. And that's his reason, which is, but Aliyev always try to manipulate with Western community for we are give the floor to opposition, but nobody comes. Yes, it's for oppositional meetings, always participate, like recent protest rally shows for 5,000–6,000 people. But this is people which is not afraid, and last 20 years, always, if even under strong pressure, they understand for their have to lose something, but still available to come. But new voices, new critical voices never attend because they know if they attend, they have a problem. And this issues with the freedom of assembly, because the government say we not restricted anything. But when ruling party want to organize concert in the Baku Boulevard, in the middle of the center, or when they want to organize like some kind of open-air exhibition for Haydar Aliyev, memorials, etc., any event which is oriented from cult of personality of current president father, here you are able to do whatever you want. So regarding the freedom of association, Christoph and Anna quite clear explain what's happened, but I want just add one important point. For according to the independent voices, we have much more difficulties which is sometimes invisible for foreign observers, especially today, last week and this week, if you saw, it's very limited representative of independent civil society attended to HDIM. Compared with previous years, even with 2014 until 2014, in all HDIM, in all plenaries, at least we have 5-6 independent NGOs, which is represented himself, organize different side events and make his speeches on the plenaries. But today, unfortunately, we observe only people which came there by, which is supported by state NGO council, by the state tourism ministry, and other state institutions. At least we calculate for it's 5% attended to this HDM, and which is represented of loyal civil society community. Some of them name it Gongos, etc., but we don't try to blame them because they come, but it's not my job. But according to my vision, this is not representative of independent civil society. And independent civil society, which is attended there, it's very limited number of people. Some of them even not able to leave the country. And some of them even attended there, decide to don't make public intervention because I speak with few of them and they say, oh man, we are trying to return to home. And if we return to home, they are start to make problem for us. I'm personally by myself followed by Azerbaijani intelligence here in Warsaw last Wednesday. And what's happened? We are invited by the OSCE chairmanship and Polish MFA to Villa Foxal to reception. When I left receptions, I saw for close to the trottoir in the open area cafe, 10 my Belarusian and Moldovan friends drink wine after these receptions and talking with each other. And they said, oh, hey, I mean, can you sit? Let's talk. I sit and start to drink coffee with them. And somebody followed me, and I don't know, but this Caucasian restaurant, and they're filming me hiddenly from maybe from 30 or 40 meters, and put for this is, and try to explain to the people in Azerbaijan for I'm sitting with Armenians in Armenian restaurant in the middle of Warsaw and discuss anti-Azerbaijani plan in HDIM. But I speak one of my friends, which is Moldovan exile-based lawyer, Anur Saki, and another Belarusian exile community, which is at the Belarusian Human Rights House. And this is two flags there. I didn't see even flags. I don't understand which is place it is. But later, I saw for its Georgian and Armenian flag, and they filming and with photos start to post in all propaganda medias in Baku to show, look, Emin, which is making speeches against Aliyev, all of this his struggle orchestrated by Armenians. They try to discredit me, and this is only one example, because they don't have any kind of other tools to make pressure against me. Yes, my brother jailed since 3rd March 2017. Some of my colleagues also under pressure. I recently lost my mom 40 days ago because it's clear we lost her because she had a strong and difficult stress last 17 months since my brother arrested. Right now we try to investigate this case, and we apply for General Prosecutor Office to initiate criminal case against responsible people. Criminal case is still open, but we are not, our family not recognized as like victims. But for the future, we continued investigation of these issues, what's happening with my mother, with all other victims. 1 year ago, in April 2017, we lost one of the bloggers, Mehman Galandarov. They just kill him in the prison and try to show to the people for he's killed himself. But you know why this person killed himself, or killed by prison administration or by regime? Just he's staying alone. 45 days, Mehman Galandarov, blogger, staying in the prison without access to legal protection. It means that we don't have enough lawyers which is able to protect them. Some lawyers are afraid to be protected. We discussed with lawyers like 5 weeks for guys, please go and protect him. But this is very sensitive case because these guys going to in front of the and try to put political graffiti on the monument of Haydar Aliyev. Just try to show his solidarity with another 2 jailed bloggers, Giyas and Bayram, which is arrested for same issues, and just for the one political graffiti, government took to his houses few kilos of heroin. You can imagine. It's what it, and this is clear example. If you try to make something against cult of personality of Aliyev, father, son, or right now it's his grandson or his wife, that is red line. My brother crossed this red line when he's criticized the president and his wife regarding the nomination to vice president position, regarding this anti-democratic constitutional amendments, and they decide to isolate him for 2 years. Many other people also staying still in jail, but what we need from you, from OECD member state, and especially from European Union and US, we try to say again please try to respect your own values in relation with Azerbaijan too, because if you not respect and not protect your own values, how we like poor civil society, which is sometimes don't have enough sources to even invite people there, organize side event, because we can't stay alone without your support. And today, if it's continued like this, you see, day by day we have less independent voices which is able to participate in any events. No one is regarding the freedom of assembly. Government says we give to opposition one central stadium in the middle of Baku, but opposition, independent NGOs not able even to organize small briefings in the town, in Baku or in the region, and discuss about issues with democracy and human rights. Hotels just don't provide the floor. And it's just only one visible place, this protest rallies area, Mehsul Stadium, which is only have 10,000 places. But again, in Baku we have 3 million population, and people understand. Sometimes when we have a protest rallies and 5,000 persons participated there, simultaneously we have 100,000 people which is looking to them in YouTube. And after this, government decided to even close all possibilities to live broadcasting there, because they understand, okay, if opposition have a live broadcast from his protest rallies in the middle of town, they are easily to reorganize his tactics or just to try to organize the protest on the different parts of the Baku, and then they decide to better to always give this, close these possibilities. Again, regarding this funding of this from foreign donors, EU and US right now have very give to independent civil society very limited sources. But unfortunately, from pro-governmental NGOs or NGOs which is related with high-level officials like First Lady Mehriban Aliyev, we have few examples. For example, when EU provide big funds to for education issues, to Haidar Aliyev Foundation, but Haidar Aliyev Foundation is bigger NGOs, which is like we say, oh, this is huge NGOs which is using by ruling family to promote his cult of personality, and not only for cult of personality, also for money laundering. They are using this NGO, which is operated with few billions of dollars. Operational cost for last 10 years is more than $5 billion. And these NGOs never publish even his incomes, but according to the law, all NGOs, independent NGOs in Azerbaijan, we are published always all our incomes, we are published names of our donors, all our activities. But the regime, which is initiated still until today against all of us, criminal cases, and implement against us fake crime charges like tax evasion, abuse of power, and illegal commercial activities, they by themselves make bigger crime. Again, they try to concentrate everything in one hand. All civil society, all like funds in this area controlled by the ruling family, and if you are not in the system, you are not allowed to make any kind of alternative activities. And unfortunately, in this kind of environment, it's very difficult for independent NGOs operated free and coordinate his activities with other independent NGOs. All independent voices in Azerbaijan is reality looks like for their locked himself. They tried to make some kind of small activities, but it is not enough to have good success. That's again to recognize the will of the Western community. You need to find much more useful mechanism to support independent voices in Azerbaijan and exile-based Azerbaijani communities. Thank you, and we are open for questions. And if any of you want to say something, we have 2-3 minutes for each of you. Yes, because we have still 25 minutes available time. Please, if any of you have questions or if...
Okay.
Please, can you use microphone? You also.
No.
Thank you very much. Thank you for organizing this event to me. Sorry for being a little bit late. I'm Violeta Moscalu. I'm a professor of management in University Paris-Créteil in France, and Lorraine University. And I'm also the head of board of Global Ukraine Foundation. We launched after the Euromaidan revolution of 2013-14 in Ukraine. It was very interesting to hear all your explanations. And my question is maybe a little comment and question to you. In my own opinion, and following some academic researches on political sciences, it seems that there is a very big issue, kleptocracy versus democracy for post-Soviet countries. Actually, we will be discussing it here in this same room tomorrow in the morning. We organize a side event on this, speaking about Ukraine, Azerbaijan, Moldova, and maybe different other examples. Kleptocracy versus democracy. So it's very strange and it's very dangerous for us from Western democracies to use the same instruments, the same tools of analysis, speaking about our post-Soviet countries. Because also academics speak about a kind of predatory versus predatory state-society relationship. Predatory. So it's all about the mentality of ruling elites. They are not developing for these countries, but they are much more predatory, and it's actually very often in countries with big resources. Christophe, you spoke about these economic issues. Actually, I was reading a book, Africa's Big Men, a predatory state-society relationship from Global Africa editions of 2018. It's a very recent one. And I was like, wow, looking on our post-Soviet countries with these examples, because Africa is a continent with very huge resources, but we have predatory and elites, kleptocratic elites, and not enough investment, degradation of infrastructures, and also, and last point, people and civil society finally they lose their hope for change, and they understand that they cannot have an impact using through elections, and finally they vote with their feet, because migration is very huge. And actually, we can see here today in European Union countries that there is a kind of circle, yeah, kleptocracy, and finally we have a migration crisis here for your member states. And I am very afraid that if now, 27 years after post-Soviet Soviet Union collapse, if we don't look and if we don't put the right words on what we have today in post-Soviet countries, very big number, we will have huge problems. So now my question is, which is the platform, at which level on European Union institutions, speaking not about corruption and low-level corruption, middle level, and not about top-level kleptocracy, about the predatory state-society relationship, and about the new, we are before a necessity to reinvent our approach. So tomorrow we'll be happy if you are interested by these issues to join us to try to discuss. But it would be interesting to hear Anna, maybe from Council of Europe, and Christophe from your experience. How do you think this issue of kleptocracy and predatory mentality of ruling elites? So in the country, the civil society is too weak. The strongest are in exile, or extradition, or in prisons, or finally they are dead. Big part of civil society and intellectual academics left the countries, migration. We see now for Ukraine, and it's very dangerous situation. How to reinvent and how to help these countries to because it's kind of new feudalism. Yeah, if you see Azerbaijan with Aliyev father, Aliyev son, Aliyev wife, there is no other wise people in this country. No rotation, so it's not democratic. Thank you.
Thank you very much to start this interesting discussion. I want also maybe share my view about it. The corruption in Azerbaijan and this kleptocracy, as you say, we have really the big consequences in Council of Europe. And NGOs, as the conference, we are also impacted. Why? Because we interact with the MPs, and from my point of view, anyone is really protected against corruption. So, firstly, we want to make the code of conduct, but also to really know which are the NGOs which are funded by the government. And when I speak about it, it's not the NGOs who have the funding for public funding from the ministry, or who have the political vision, because each NGOs have the possibility to have its own political line, but which is really steering by the government. And we see in Council of Europe, because what is the stake is the question of the accountability of the intergovernmental institution. And we saw the limits of the Parliamentarian Assembly, which depends on how the member state will act on the national level to investigate the corrupted MPs. Okay, so the international institution depends on the efficiency of the national service. So the situation is really very hard because all of us, I think that the people don't really realize that all of us are concerned by the undermining the reputation of the institution for which we work. I'm really very happy about Romania. Because when I see these people on the street, okay, from me it is really the sign that the citizen can engage against corruption. And it's mean that from my point of view, the long-term change can go only from the grassroots, from the citizens who will control the government. Okay, and the protests in Romania are really interesting phenomena to see how the people. It is like the rise of the consciences, and Poland maybe can take the example of that. But
okay, you're too young to remember this, but under communism, there was this business about reaching communism. We were always building communist society, and they said it was socialism. It wasn't communism yet. And it was very rare for anyone to try and define what communism would actually be like. Sometimes academics would write something about the state of communism which we were working towards. Well, now we know, actually, the final stage of the drive for communism is kleptocracy, basically. This is the system has produced this, where the governors actually steal from the people. And this is actually what's happening. You're absolutely right, and it's good that you're having this meeting tomorrow. In this tortured system that the European Union is, and the way it's trying to cope with countries like Azerbaijan, there are people who want to negotiate, want to deal, and they don't want to notice the bad things because they just want to have an agreement with the government. But there are other people who have come to the conclusion that the key to all this is the rule of law. And trying to establish the rule of law.
The Republic of Moldova, who's been acting in the justice system for 27 years, and she is now politically prosecuted in our country.
Как сказала моя Донна Усаки, я являюсь судьей, работала 27 лет в апелляционном суде Республики Молдова. В 2016 году дело в том, что я стала жертвой политического вмешательства политиков в судебной системе. Я рассмотрела одно гражданское дело в 2016 году, согласно которому оппозиционная партия инициировала референдум по изменению Конституции. Согласно этому референдуму они предложили, чтобы президент страны избирался всенародным голосованием. Были собраны более 400 тысяч подписей. Центральная избирательная комиссия отказалась провести референдум.
The case of her prosecution started because she refused to fulfill a political task which comes from the ruling elite. It was a case of popular referendum which was issued in 2015 by an initiative group of opposition. And it was a voice of more than 400,000 people who were signed for a proposal to return to the former law, which was in the Republic of Moldova before the 2000, in order to give to people the possibility to directly elect the president. So because the ruling elite wasn't interested in this kind of referendum, she received the task and the big threats and pressure to cancel these results of the referendum, and she refused to do so. Immediately, a criminal case was opened against a judge, and her example was used not only because she was dismissed for her office, of course, and she was persecuted, but in order to, this example was used to threaten and to impose fear to other judges who were thinking of the possibility to not fulfill political tasks. That's the phenomenon about which Dominika wants to speak.
And question, please, because we have only 1 minute.
Я только хочу сказать, что на меня, прежде чем вынести это решение, значит, оказывалось политическое давление со стороны политической партии, которая находится у власти. Я вынесла решение в соответствии с законом, в соответствии со своим внутренним убеждением. Но дело в том, что это уголовное дело имело отрицательное влияние на всех судей. Судьи запуганы, они отказываются выполнить свои прямые обязанности. В связи с этим, и дело в том, что такие случаи возбуждения уголовных дел происходят не только в отношении меня, происходит и в отношении других судей в Республике Молдова. На данный момент у нас, к сожалению, нет независимой судебной власти. И вы, наверное, имели возможность все убедиться, когда в Республике Молдова были отменены выборы мэра города Кишинева, который был законно избран в должности мэра Кишинева. И вот в связи с этим эти явления, явления происходят во многих странах. Вот я хочу спросить уважаемых экспертов, как предупредить захват судебной власти во всех этих странах постсоветского пространства? И имеется явное желание политика захватить эту судебную власть. Но без независимой судебной власти мы не сможем построить правовое государство. Независимая судебная власть является гарантией разделения властей в любом государстве. Вот это очень важная тема для сегодняшнего.
Well, I will start the session from the question, but I still have to mention that all the conclusions of Dominika are very important. We will speak more about them tomorrow on the kleptocracy seminar being invited by Violeta. Well, Dominika is trying to understand, one from an expert from Azerbaijan, how do you think, what mechanism we should use to protect independence of the judiciary? And also for the international experts, before, for example, sections that I proposed, and I believe only the sections now, from all my experience working with these issues, what kind of mechanism to protect judiciary are issued or can be proposed now to be really efficient and to try to even a little bit to stop this expansion of the kleptocracy and the mixture in the judiciary, in the independence of the judiciary.
Thank you. Maybe we can receive all questions and excuse me, and we respond together this conclusion. Najmi, did anyone? Yes.
That's okay. In the interest of time.
Yeah. Please, question and.
Yeah, I think I'm also from Azerbaijan, actually. Is it working?
Yeah.
So many believe that the situation got worse in past cases in Azerbaijan because there hasn't been any adequate reaction by the institutions that Azerbaijan is linked to and also the current Western government. However, there has been some individual voices that supported civil society of Azerbaijan, like in the European Parliament, who said that we are not going to ratify any strategic partnership agreement with Azerbaijan unless they are not implementing human rights, conducting human rights reforms. And there are people in consultative bodies and also the parliamentary assembly who are adopting critical resolutions on Azerbaijan. There are people in the US Senate and Congress who are coming up with sanction bills and resolutions in order to put pressure on Azerbaijan to improve the situation. However, there has not been any institutional rather than individual response to what has been happening in Azerbaijan, and I think the problem is that it's due to civil society of Azerbaijan to achieve this institutional support, but it's also important to think about the mechanisms inside the Council of Europe. I mean, this late release of Igor Mamadov, despite the judgment of European Court of Human Rights, was a success, but late success and partial success of Council of Europe. And therefore, there's need to be mechanism in order to immediately force improvement of human rights, and also put pressure, make sure that the government is not making the situation worse. So for me, I mean, thinking realistically, sanctions for now, not for Azerbaijan or for any country which is in Europe doesn't seem very realistic. But what seems realistic is conditionality. I mean, in every deal, in every negotiation with Azerbaijan, there needs to be conditionality. So this conditionality should be strong within the negotiations and agreement between Azerbaijan and European Union. This conditionality is important when Merkel comes to Baku. And what we are seeing actually is that the conditions are imposed by Baku. For example, when Merkel comes to South Caucasus, in Georgia, in Armenia, she's meeting independent civil society, opposition, she's going to street to meet the people, but when she's coming to Baku, she's not meeting opposition. And I don't know why, but it really seems like it's a condition which is imposed by the government of Azerbaijan. So this conditionality is important, and my question to Chris is how this conditionality, how pressing EU is in this conditionality, as you are more involved in this, observing these negotiations, how pressing EU is in this conditionality, especially for the environment for civil society.
Thank you very much. This is a serious question, of course, isn't it? It's not very pressing, I'm afraid.
Each of us have 3 minutes.
Who has? Is there anyone else who wants to speak? Do you want to speak again?
No.
So I'll just
3 minutes for response.
It's true that the European Parliament is behaving very well. This European Parliament. Remember, in May, a new European Parliament will be elected, and then we will have to start all over again. The resolution says if human rights, etc., are not adequately covered in the agreement that the Commission is now negotiating with Azerbaijan, then we won't accept it, because the Parliament has to actually vote for it. But we will have a new Parliament in May, so all the effort that's gone into these MEPs will have to be redone to work on them. The Commission people, the External Action Service people, are very keen to sign this agreement with Azerbaijan. Yeah, I'm not sure why. The chief negotiator came from the trade section of the Commission, and that's what he does. He does agreements, he does trade agreements. So he doesn't really, I don't know what he's doing, but of course it's gas and oil, and of course it's money. And that's the biggest problem. If you're a very, very poor country, they wouldn't have much more. But Azerbaijan is quite important. This team has been quite important. I was very worried to hear that to the security people from the Azeri embassy have been following you. It is very worrying that they are enjoying quite a large amount of impunity. In Georgia, when Mukhtarli was kidnapped, they were kidnapping him with the help of the Georgian security people, but actually they were there. With Fikret Husseini in Kiev, they were there all the time. I mean, they were openly helping the Ukrainian officials to try and get him, to try and snatch him. Basically, that's what they were trying to do. But he got away from them, didn't he? So this is rather worrying that countries tolerate the activity of these security people, and countries. I didn't realize that Azerbaijan had an agreement with Moldova. They have, it's a bilateral.
Yes.
It's a bilateral.
Yeah, they had bilateral.
Yes. Azerbaijan has good contacts with countries like Ukraine. They also seem to have good contacts with Belarus. I don't know about this because they have influence. Again, they're not only buying up member states, they're buying up eastern partnership states. Actually, soon they will have bought up the whole world. I mean, it's amazing. What you should do, the justice part of the European Commission seems to be very serious about this rule of law business. They need information. They want to get as much information about what is happening, and they want to influence this, because this is what they do justice, right? So they don't care about the trade agreement. But they are, I think that your case, because it's actually, there's a resonance in what happened with the Chisinau, the city authority, right? And the verdict which wiped out the election results. So maybe if the judges there had been as brave as you were, then we would have been in a better position.
No, they were already threatened. That's why they just prefer to cancel the results of the.
So if, I'd be happy to hear about your case, but actually I think you should just send a letter to DG Just, and they will put this in their dossier, their file. Have I answered everything?
Yeah. And now with Anna and I also
I will be very short. Firstly, we should recognize that in Council of Europe, the infringement proceedings, first time in the history, it was the progress. Because answering the question about the mechanism as well, I really agree on that. But in the question of freedom of associations in society, there is a big problem of data. It means that we have the lack of data, because when the right to freedom of association is undermined, very often in practice, because when the law change, we know that it changed, so it's really easy to influence or try to be more put the pressure there. But in practice, when the NGOs don't receive the funding or etc., and which is not really funded as the decision, normally the people should go to the court. So, but very often, and it was also my exchange about Poland with Polish NGOs, NGOs don't have the means, human means, financial means, etc., to start administrative or judicial proceedings. So my message, I don't know if you have the donors here in the room, but my message is really to reinforce the funding for litigation, because it is only in this way that we can support NGOs to start the proceedings, and by the same as the international organization, we can have the indicator, because today we don't have the indicator. We don't have the statistic which show the proceedings between the states and CSO on the national level. We don't have all of them. We have in some countries some statistic, but it's not representative. And I'm really a little also, the question of sanction. I see from inside the problem with Russia in Council of Europe, and I don't have the point of view about it. It means that I'm really divided, okay? Because we have this first approach also European Union about Azerbaijan, to see we should not make the sanction, we should stay in touch, we should have the diplomatic relation to have the influence. This is the same position in Russia about Russia in Council of Europe. But in the same time, we have the arguments also some member states who really push to put Russia outside of the Council of Europe. So I don't know, because my concern, it's not the government. My concern is the people. And European Convention of Human Rights, it's really, okay, the execution of judgment, maybe it is not perfect. We should really put the pressure to the states for the execution of judgment. But if one country is outside, it means that the people are not protected. So.
And we have 2 minutes.
Can I say just 1 minute about the labor judgment?
No. I just need to. Because we have people looking to us, we must leave the room.
Because we have probably the video. I want to mention your lawyers from Azerbaijan, because we've spoken at the beginning of the event about the lawyers, but nobody mentioned, because I'm seeing here representatives of USA and the European Union. I think those lawyers who are now in big danger in Azerbaijan should be mentioned, because I joined to a big issue is to defend lawyers all over the world, as well as I am. And I was really concerned to hear about cases of Khalid Bagirov, Alain Gasanov, Yelchin Imanov, Namizit Safarov, Asabri Mustafiev. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing correctly these names. Fariz Namazli and Fakhrid Al-Meji, about whom you were talking. These lawyers, their licenses have been taken in Azerbaijan, and they are in real danger now. And that's why I want to have some possibilities to follow up these cases of lawyers in Azerbaijan, because now in Azerbaijan you will have not any lawyers to defend political prisoners. No, I'm speaking about, this is the one part I know for sure about Azerbaijan, because I was the one who joined an organization to defend lawyers in danger. And I found the story of each of those persons, and I think we must pronounce their name, and we must ask for immediate reaction in their situation from international authorities.
I try to conclude our event. Regarding topics of Najmi about sanctions, we believe it's possible to implement sanctions, and we need to for foreign communities to start to implement these sanctions, as like they start to do this with Russia, because US, Canada, and EU already have few applicable law as like Magnitsky Global Act, but we don't have, for example, from Azerbaijan civil society, we don't have, as Anna says, people which is able to provide to US Congress or State Department a clear data for whom and why must be included to this sanction list. Today, our colleagues not able to leave the country just for politically motivated reasons. And issues for EU, US, and other like Western community member states must include the people of these predators, like ministers or his kids, to this list. If one country, for example, look what's happened with one human rights defense by Poland, include her name to the list of people which is Polish government restricted to her to come to EU member state. It's one member state restricted one human rights defender from Ukraine, to Lyudmila Kozlovska, but she's not allowed to come to EU. She stopped on the border in Brussels and deported back to Ukraine. But why EU don't do this with Azerbaijan officials, with some of the our president, which is successfully traveled around the Europe, in the Mediterranean area, as like king? Why you don't do this with minister's wife, which is also traveled? If I'm not speaking about big countries like Germany, which have economic, maybe it's better to find small allies in the EU member state, which is even include 10% to this list, and when they understand, well, yes, it's already started, they start to be careful. With those sanctions, unfortunately, in Azerbaijan, Azerbaijani mentality, oriented mentalities from our ruling regime, don't give them other way. They only understand strong language on sanctions, and we just need to coordinate with our partners in US, with US lawmakers, with intergovernmental institutions, for bring them to the list, and started with small topics. And today many of them make crime not only in Europe, in the US. One of the Azerbaijani lobbyists, Kenan Oksuz, is arrested, jailed in Armenia, because FBI make order about him. He make restrictions, he make violations according to US federal law regarding the foreign lobbying. And this is clear examples for Azerbaijani government using all possible and impossible ways, even sometimes recruit the guys which have joined his business in Armenia. Sometimes they try to blame us for we are sitting in the cafe which is have Armenian flag. But my questions to Azerbaijani government, guys, you are recruited one guy which has have business in Yerevan since from 2017. You paid him quite a lot of money, and we think now it's time to be response to Azerbaijani people and to global community for why you make this crime, and everyone which is make any crime must be responsible. We need again your solidarity, support, and understanding. Thanks for attending to our small event, and please support Azerbaijani civil society. Thanks.